The luxury restaurant manager kicked out an old man, not knowing who he really was. Every day we wake up and get on with our lives. We sip our coffee, rush to work, and think about our own problems. Rarely do we stop to think about those who are less fortunate, people who wake up not to comfort but to hunger, people who don't plan their day around meetings but around finding food. We walk past homeless people every day, often assuming they are lazy or undeserving, but no one knows the story behind their struggles. Judging them can be a terrible mistake. This is the story of a man named Don Juan. Hungry and exhausted, Don wandered the streets searching for something, anything, to eat. As he walked, he came across a famous luxury restaurant. Through the spotless glass, he could see beautifully plated meals and well-dressed guests enjoying themselves. His hunger grew unbearable. People inside noticed him staring and began to feel uncomfortable. Drawn by the smell of food, Don unknowingly stepped closer and eventually walked inside. There was no guard at the entrance. A few diners stared, whispering among themselves. Soon, the restaurant manager noticed the disturbance. When he saw Don standing there in worn clothes, his face hardened with anger. Don politely explained that he was hungry and asked if they could spare even a small piece of food. For a brief moment, Don thought the manager might help. Instead, the manager exploded. He shouted at Don, accused him of disturbing customers, and ordered him to leave immediately. When Don begged again, explaining that he was old and starving, the manager insulted him, telling him to get a job, clean himself, and never return. According to him, people like Don didn't belong in a place like that. Heartbroken, Don walked away. He tried another branch of the same restaurant chain. Before he could even enter, a waitress stopped him. When he explained his situation, she laughed and called the chef, who rudely told him to leave. The manager there went even further, mocking him and suggesting he dig through the dumpster for food. With every rejection, Don's faith in humanity faded. Remembering an old acquaintance, Carlos, the head chef of another branch, Don gathered his last hope and went there. Carlos had once been close to him, someone Don trusted. But Carlos didn't even look up. He mocked Don, accused him of begging instead of working, and openly admitted that he only cared about money. He even spoke cruelly about the restaurant owner, claiming he was pretending to be loyal just to inherit the business. Don left in tears, shattered. After being rejected at nearly every branch, Don reached one final restaurant, the most elegant one, located on the main street. Expecting the same treatment, he was shocked when the security guard smiled and greeted him kindly. The guard listened to Don's story and asked him to wait. Soon, the manager came out, spoke respectfully, and promised to arrange food for him. Don waited patiently, even as time passed and doubt crept in. Just as Don decided to leave, the manager ran after him. Inside, Don was stunned. A full table had been prepared, multiple dishes, carefully served, fit for royalty. The staff treated him with dignity and respect. The manager then revealed his story. He too had once lost everything and ended up homeless. The restaurant owner had given him a second chance, and he vowed to pass that kindness forward. The next day, all employees across the restaurant chain were summoned for an important meeting with the owner. When Don arrived, many staff members shouted at him, until the manager quietly invited him into the kitchen. Moments later, the truth was revealed. Don Juan wasn't a homeless man. He was the owner of the entire restaurant chain. He had disguised himself to test his employees after learning he had only a short time left to live. He wanted to know whether the values he preached, kindness, compassion, and humanity, were truly being followed. Most had failed. Carlos, the man he trusted most, had failed the worst. Don announced that the only people worthy of leading his legacy were those who treated others with dignity. The restaurant that fed him would inherit everything. The rest were fired, no second chances. Before leaving, Don delivered one final message. Never judge a person by their appearance, and never forget, kindness costs nothing.